You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no no, oh no no, it's another episode of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Yay!
Welcome to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this April 21st, 2021. We have an intelligent guest with us today. Her name is Wendy Koch, and she is the author of the book, it's A Gray Resort. And she's also a podcaster of her own with a podcast that is called The Juicy Pear. And she will be helping us later on with our client, One's Name is One's Destiny. And Greg will be taking the lead counsel job on that one. So Wendy will later be the fake guest attorney for us later on as we address that. So we'll start off. Wendy, I know that you're initially from Wisconsin. You're currently living in Michigan.
Yes.
At what point did you decide to take your experiences from your living on a resort in Wisconsin and put them into a book in a fictional form?
Well, I always had that in mind. I thought it would make a great book. I grew up in Tomahawk, Wisconsin, so it's about 4 hours north of Milwaukee. My parents had a summer resort. It was along a lake. We had 8 cabins. We had a pool. I didn't realize how good I had it. And we had all these, people from Chicago, Milwaukee, all over really would come up for the summer and come stay at my parents' resort. So, they'd stay a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And, Saturday was changeover day. And my parents, so the, tenants that would come in, they would leave, and then we'd get our new tenants.
Now, changeover day, is that when everybody had to exchange clothing?
No, that's when they had to move out, and then, our new tenants would come in.
Oh, I like the other idea better. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, it was very fun. My parents loved people. They loved all kinds of people. They were gatherers. So later on in the day, my mom would go to each cabin and say, hey, we're going to have a get together. My dad would put all these picnic tables. They put them all together along the lake. And we would have people, we lived about 6 miles outside of town. They would come in, they would come there from in town. We had, everyone would come that were staying at the resort. We had neighbors come, just all kinds of people. And my dad would be the grill master. He would make all the food. And, people that, that were hungry, sometimes they would come and we would have food for them. And we never ran out of food. And it was just a great atmosphere. It was like, the 70s and 80s.
So like a bottomless grill. The food just, you didn't have to go to the store. It just magically showed up next to the...
I went with my dad to the grocery store, and I remember him ordering like 2-3 dozen ears of corn, chicken. I mean, it was just, he loved to do it, and it was fun. So that's the backdrop of it. But we also had some interesting paranormal stuff that happened on the resort as well. And I kind of use that in my book. And it's, it starts out, a girl goes fishing one day, and she kind of gets the shock of her life. And then
that is kind of paranormal, actually, the fact that a girl is going fishing.
Well,
just to get the misogyny out of the way.
So, and it just kind of, progresses from there. So I've gotten a lot of good reviews on it, and it came out summer 2019. And, I've even had guys like you pick it up thinking, oh, it's a book about fishing. There's a dock and
That's one of the things I look for. I'm getting a book. I check the dust jacket. I'm like, is there a dock in this at all? There's a dock. I'm 100% dock truck. Is there Jello salad involved? I'm a big Jello salad guy.
Do you like aspic as well, Brendan?
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm glad to hear there's a dock involved.
Well, they saw the dock, they saw the sunset, and they saw, oh, she's from Wisconsin. I'm going to pick it up and read it. And they said when they, when they were reading it, they, it was hard to put down. it was, they were intrigued, and it wasn't normally a book they normally would pick up, but they liked it, and that was great. That makes me happy. So across the board, different ages like my book. So that's kind of what I was going for. So,
But do you like your book?
of course I do. I think you better if you're going to write it,
Yeah, I was going to say, just so you know, despite what you would think, looking at the three of us, our audience is mostly older women.
Really?
No explanation at all. Nope, none, not at all.
Who hate fishing?
What do you consider older women?
I mean, like 50s and 60s.
Okay.
Well, I think we go like 40s to 60s.
Do we have 40s?
40s.
All right. Well, I'm not okay. So not young girls.
We can't
which-
say older because we're older than the.
Not young ladies. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically,
I'm
our
old.
demographic is the kind that advertisers don't want at all. We have the worst
No,
advertising demographic.
our demographic is our ex-wives. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's kind of true. So you don't have an ex-wife, Brendan.
That's true. I only have a current wife. I
And
don't
Greg's
have
never
ex-
been
If I
married.
had
So
an
basically, when he
ex-wife-
says ex-wife, he's just referring to me.
I have a lot of potential ex-wives, though.
Trust
Many
me, there's
women
been
I
several
know, I'm
times.
like, yeah, she's
Ex-wives in
ex-wife
training
waiting to
in the
happen.
future. Okay. Your future
Exactly, yeah.
ex-wives. Okay.
Could have been an ex-wife. Now, from your bio, you said that you were in the army for 4 years and you lived in
Yes.
a tent and 6 months in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Now, was the tent your hijab, or is this like an actual tent?
No, this is the actual tent.
Okay. So they did make you wear a hijab while you were in Saudi Arabia?
No, they did not. No.
That's interesting. Okay.
No, we had our uniform. Now this was way back when, during Desert Storm,
Hmm.
and yeah.
I still think of
it-
Desert Storm as like a new war.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. I went. Goodness, it was about October of 1990, and I was there through the middle of 1990, 91, and we were stationed. Well, we had these big old tents that there was like the girls' tents and the guys' tents, and we sat, pitched it. It was like in the sand, and yeah. So the first night we were there, we saw a pit viper snake, and I thought, oh, okay, this is what we're going to be in for the entire time. But that was the only time we saw it, a snake like that. But yeah, that was the very first night.
Yeah, it said that it was killed by a golf club, but it didn't say how the golf club killed it. Like, so that like somehow the golf club was like, I am here to protect Wendy, and I will leave my environment and kill the snake all by myself. It is like the magic golf club of Wendy's destiny or
Excalibur.
something. Yes,
There was
that was the name of the club, was Excalibur.
there was this, the guys brought a set of golf clubs out there, for just to relieve stress. And one of them, we said, hey, get the snake, and they clobbered it with a golf club.
But it's one big sand trap there, isn't it? Is that fun golfing?
It
Is that
is.
fun? Yeah.
No, there was nothing about it that was fun. No.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like getting the tent set up on sand sounds challenging in and of itself,
Yeah.
because it's like, how do you get the stakes in to give you security?
Filling up sandbags and
Oh, that would make sense.
lots of that.
I'm
It
sure there's
seems
lots
so-
of sandbags.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we did a lot of that. That was a long time ago. I mean, I'll always remember that. It was just a very strange time in my life. And I mean, it was a good experience, I guess, but it was not one I would want to repeat.
It was
Okay.
a good experience, I guess. I mean, as far as snakes and golf clubs and sand tents go, it was, mediocre.
Well, it was like the 6 months in Saudi Arabia. So what was your actual job in the military?
Well, I was considered a pencil pusher, a personal management specialist. So basically,
Okay.
I would just get paperwork ready for guys that need to be promoted, and I would interview them and just basically add up the score or whatever. It
And
wasn't
you did that in a tent in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So our
Fascinating.
officer in charge wanted to get promoted, so he really pushed for our unit to go there. We really we shouldn't have been out there, but we were. I also worked with the Red Cross out there and helped that way.
So they
But,
sent all these desk jockeys out to Saudi Arabia
Yeah,
for no
yeah.
good reason.
Now there was a couple guys that were from infantry units. That's how I met my husband. he was there. Thank goodness, because it just wasn't ideal.
Wendy, do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Do you want them to go into the military if they decided? Would you be like, no, don't do that? Or yes?
It doesn't
There's
sound
a
like you're
lot of
having
good-
pleasant memories there. I feel like I need to get away from this subject.
Okay.
I
I'm
have
sorry.
I have two sets of twins. So the older set is
Wow.
they're 16, they're juniors, and the younger set are in 8th grade, they're 14. So I would say this, there's a lot of great things that you can get out of the military. I don't know if I would necessarily tell them Army, because I was in the Army. I would maybe steer them towards the Air Force, or I don't know.
So the best thing is actually just to get out of the military. Not get something out of the military, just get out of the
you
military.
can get, there's a lot of great things that I got out of it. Confidence and, a sense of purpose, and, you have your housing for free and your food, and you can get money for college, and you can travel. And it's also good I think it's good to get out of your comfort zone and to travel, and to just to see how other people live. I think that would benefit a lot of people today. And I think that would be beneficial. So yeah,
Your golf game is improved.
Wasn't that the get all that you can get from the Army?
It was like you can do more before 9 in the morning.
Yeah, I have a son who's in the military. He joined the Navy. I had nothing to do with it. I was not in the military. My brother was, and he decided to go because he felt he was a lazy bum and he needed somebody to kick him in the ass once he got out of the house, and I was no longer there to do it. So I thought, it's pretty self-aware, and off he went.
Yeah, I was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, for about 3 years, and then in Saudi, and then it came up for me to re-enlist, and I didn't want to. I was done after 4 years. I got what I wanted out of it, and I got college money and things, and I was ready to go.
So did you go to college right out of the military?
No, I went to college a year before, and
okay.
then I decided, I'm not quite ready for that yet, and so I went there. And so I went to college after I got out of the service, ended up getting my degree.
Oh, what'd you get?
What was your degree in, Wendy?
Communications.
That's why she's able to talk to us.
Well,
oh no, that's like aberrant psychology or something. I think you need to agree to talk to us.
You know what? I was going to be so many different things. I was going to be a psychologist, then I was going to be a teacher, then I was going to be
a tractor.
I mean,
golf club.
Right.
This golf club.
So many things.
So
it's going to be a rollaway cabinet.
But so it's public relations communications.
Okay, well that's actually what I studied in school as well. I was mass communications in college, and somehow it caused me to end up here harassing nice people.
Communicating to people.
I'm communicating
poorly.
So did you experience anything supernatural? So you said that the book has to, we'll get back to the important thing, which is your book. And apparently you've got another book written, or it's getting written, or?
Yeah, so I've written it. For the most part, it's done. I'm doing the really hard part. So,
the editing.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to get it to where I have to take it to an editor, because I'm sort of a, they call it a plotter or a pantser, and I'm really kind of a pantser in that I don't do a lot of organization when I write. I don't.
Well, let's back up a little bit. What is a platter and a pantser?
Plotter or a pantser? A plotter.
Spell pantser. Pantser or what?
That sounds about right. I don't. Yeah.
What is
that?
Like,
woo! Pull down the pants, pantser?
Pulling your pants down? I don't understand this.
A plotter or a pantser. So
this has got to be like a Wisconsin or Michigan thing, or I don't know.
It's like a writing thing. It's like a writing thing.
Okay, so we're all idiots, so we don't know. You'll have to explain.
No, but it's like, so a plotter is somebody who, they have all these rules. They go ahead and they organize who does what and where, and before in outlines and ad nauseum, before they even write. And then a pantser is more of, just free flow writing. There's not many rules. You might not even know when you're starting a chapter how the end of the chapter is going to be. kind of that's
by the seat of their pants. Is that where it comes from?
Yes, by the seat of your pants. That's kind of how
Where
I
does
write.
platter come from?
They're plotting.
Plotting, like you're plotting,
Plotting,
in the book.
I think it said platter, like a silver platter.
No,
because your accent.
No.
I literally.
I thought it was
platter
too.
Accent?
So it's actually plotter. You were saying
plotter. Yes,
plotter,
as opposed to platter. I thought platter. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's like a plat book, like whenever you're putting blueprints down or the sketch of some land as like what puts go in a plat book. And I'm thinking, okay, so that kind of makes sense through that, but. Okay.
I thought Panzer, like a German
Panzer.
tank.
Got it. No, I'm looking it up. So it is spelled Pantser, P-A-N-T-S-E-R.
Yeah.
And people ask the questions: are you a plotter or a pantser?
Yes.
Well, Stephen King, probably one of the most well-known writers of all time, is a pantser. Stephen King. You heard of him?
Yeah.
He pulled my pants down once too.
Well, that's different, Greg.
That was actually his nickname. He goes by Stephen the Pantser King.
Yeah.
So not only is it a nickname, but it also becomes like his title. He's the Pantser King.
Wendy, could you share with us some of your supernatural experiences as a little girl? Like,
yes. When did you become a ghost?
When did I what?
When did you become a ghost?
She's not
when
a
did
ghost.
I become a ghost? Well, I'm not a ghost.
Okay, well, see, that answered that question.
So I sort of had, when I was younger, I guess you'd call The Shining or The Sixth Sense. So I kind of knew when things were going to happen. I really did. And
like how far in advance did you know?
Well, in the beginning of my book, A Gray Resort, I might as well just tell it because it is in the beginning. The story with the grandmother, that's true. I knew that my grandmother was going to die and she ended up, that's what happened to her. So she was going on vacation and I just had like a very distinct, there was no question that was going to happen to her if she went. And I tried to get her to not go, but they were going to Florida for vacation. And so that really happened. And it happened with some other people as well. And
so you basically kill all of the people you know, is what you're saying?
No.
With your mind?
I was just privy to some knowledge that, as a young person having that, you kind of think, God, am I a bad person? Or why do I have this kind of knowledge? Where is it coming from? And, some people told me, no, you're not a bad person. It's just, it's a gift, it's a gift from God that you have. It might sound silly, but it is. And I had to close the door on it a little bit because it can be overwhelming. And, I would get it in people if I'd see at the grocery store and brush past them, and I would get a very distinct feeling about them. And so the paranormal things that happened, my mom had a lot of that as well. She had one instance where, so this family had just checked into the resort and there was this storm coming. And it was so they were sitting on the picnic table and about 2 minutes before it happened, they were, kind of watching the clouds come in. My mom goes, you need to get up off to this guy. You need to get up off the picnic table because in a couple minutes, a tree limb is going to come fall down and it's going to hit your arm. And I don't want to get sued. So please move. And he was just kind of like stunned, and he didn't move. He kind of moved. Well, he moved over. He didn't completely move. And a tree limb fell and it hit part of his arm. And he like turned white as a ghost. And that.
Did he still sue?
He didn't sue.
He was warned.
He was warned.
Lost the case.
So just little things like that. My mom had little things like that.
Of course, they didn't look up in the tree with a guy with a saw that was.
No, that's when Dad came out with a golf club and started wailing on him.
There goes with the golf club.
we get on things and we beat them till they die.
Yeah.
Continue
like
beating
that
them.
Snake.
They're like more than that. It's just like.
So you're lucky we didn't bring out the school bus to deal with that pit viper, Greg.
Let's not get into that. But that's a very specific prediction. That's I hear people talk about they have a gift, but that sounds right on.
Yeah. So, and we heard weird noises around the area. And my mom saw a UFO. She did. So my dad was in Vietnam at the time, and my mom was, same area. She was out, I guess, looking at deer or something, and she had her cat with her in her car, and she saw this light, and she thought, oh, that's strange, and she thought it was the car coming up, but then it was like came across the field, and it was actually a machine.
Well, that's because the
And
cat summoned it.
It was far away, but she was quite alarmed. The cat was scratching up her leg. She was trying to start the car. Of course, it started
The
up.
cat was trying to start the car?
The cat was scratching up her leg as she was starting the car back
Oh,
up because she was so scared.
It sounded like you said the cat was starting the car.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Okay, now we know where the UFO is there for. It was coming to pick up the cat, which was its emissary to smooth the way.
But the UFO was prior to the resort. Meaning this was a pre-resort phenomenon.
Yeah, but it was in that same area, same like 10-mile radius where strange things were happening. And she got out of there. It scared her because it was like a machine. And as soon as it was about to land in this field, she took off.
You say like a machine that looked like a popcorn maker?
No, it looked like a UFO, like not a helicopter, like not a plane, like how people describe UFOs. So she went home, and called. She was scared, so she called the police, and she said like 12, I don't know, a bunch of other people had called with the same thing. They weren't, they were scared. They didn't know what it was, and yeah.
And this was approximately late 60s, based on Vietnam time period.
Yeah.
Were there UFO? Were there further UFO? Let me get a word in there, Matt. Were there further UFO experiences in that area? Like, is that kind of has it been a hotspot, or was just that one-off?
It was that one-off thing. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see anything strange, but yeah, I don't know. So I find it interesting because the whole area there's just like an eerie feeling in that. I could never put my finger on it, but you could. It's palpable, when.
Is that why you call it a gray resort instead of the gray resort? Like there are many gray resorts in the area?
I don't know why I chose A instead of the. I don't know.
It seems very, from a writer's perspective, very intentional. I mean, A is an indefinite article. It's a gray resort, as if, like Matt said, there's more than one. But maybe we're foreshadowing the rest of the series.
I don't know.
Well, it seems a little more profound, doesn't it? A gray resort, like the gray resort. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it does. It does, but it's certainly
a little bit more. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So the sequel will be like a purple resort, and then
it's the sequel is going to be there's going to be A and there's going to be gray in it, but that's all I'm saying.
I'm just glad that
it'll be a gray glob of gum.
A gray Winnebago.
From growing up watching many movies, I'm just glad that, you lived in this resort out in the woods. And from what I've learned in my studies is that usually when you do that, you're prey to psychopaths and serial killers and murderers like Jason and Sleepaway Camp.
And Norman Bates.
So
we had a Crystal Lake by us too, believe it or not.
What?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we did.
But no serial killers, no mass murderers.
No, but Ed Gein, he's from Wisconsin. That one, he's from Wisconsin. Yeah.
That area? Close?
God, I can't remember where he's from, but he was from Wisconsin. He was the one that made lampshades out of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think he was more Western Wisconsin, but you had Jeffrey Dahmer down in Milwaukee.
He was in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Oh, so you got off lucky just by seeing a UFO.
I guess so.
Yeah. She didn't see the UFO, Greg. If you, in her studies, you should have realized it was her mom.
Oh, sorry. The cat. The cat saw the UFO too.
Oh, the cat called the UFO.
The cat was the emissary for the UFO.
The cat was a part of the cat race that called the UFO back to the landing place. Once they got the cat, that's why they never came back.
The cat got the mother away by starting the car.
There you go.
See, I wasn't listening.
There you go.
Apparently, Greg, you're too busy chugging. You're too busy chugging from your bottle of vodka or whatever you're drinking there.
What are you drinking?
Bourbon. I have to drink.
It's not bourbon. It's fake whiskey.
Blended whiskey, whatever. But you know how it is. You've met Matt. Like, I have to do this. She's met you over the show. She knows why I drink when we do this podcast. She gets it.
I just like that you're drinking it out of like a big gulp plastic container. Tell me that's not full of bourbon.
Didn't we have a whole
looks pretty
episode
well
talking
worn.
about that mug that he got from
Yes, it's
University of
Pepsi, lots of
Arizona
Pepsi.
or something?
Yeah, it's lots of Pepsi. So
He won't
it's
get a
not like I'm
replacement mug because he says he's too cheap to buy a new one.
taking- Very
Oh,
cheap.
it's okay. It looks pretty well worn though. I like it.
Yeah,
Still works though.
it's got
Yeah.
personality. Yeah, it's hard to make a plastic cup not work.
Just
I've
melt it.
tried. Yeah,
He put a hole in the bottom.
a drill.
You know what? You guys would like the resort. You really would. But the thing is
Yeah, I don't fish though.
you don't.
As
No.
long as it's
Me neither.
it's got a dock. I'll just go sit on the dock.
It has 3 docks. We had 3 docks. We had rowboats, canoes.
Yeah, Greg and I are basically useless men. We live in the Northwest, but we don't belong really in the Northwest.
Where do you belong?
I don't know. In a big city.
Big city.
Yeah.
Really?
The
Suburbia.
heart of it, basically. Yeah.
You'd rather be in a big city?
Yes.
I wouldn't, but
I would because you still have the option to go to other places when you're in the mood.
But you guys live in Portland. Portland's not a
Yeah, we live in a
small
big city.
town.
I don't live in Portland. I live in the suburbs.
I do. But it's still like Portland has this weird thing where it's a big city, but it doesn't feel that big. It's not like Manhattan or Chicago.
That's because
Yeah.
it's like broken up by the river in a couple of spots,
Yeah.
and I think things are separated into like neighborhoods.
Yeah.
and that's
Welcome
where things get confusing.
welcome to Portland with Matt and Greg.
You
Yeah.
brought it up, you bastard.
My fault.
Yes.
So Wendy, did you always write as a youngster? Were you like
I did. I
wrote
did.
short
I love
stories and things?
No,
Yeah,
no, she's a lefty, Greg. She doesn't always write. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
good one, Matt.
I can't help myself.
This is why I
drink.
drink.
That's
This is
awesome.
why I drink bourbon.
I'm
Greg,
a lefty and
Greg, cheers. We'll just do a drinking game.
I just have water.
I have iced tea.
sucks.
That's what I'm drinking.
I thought,
Ever-
well, I'll have my
I'm
cocktail
drinking vanilla
after the
chai
show.
tea is what I'm drinking.
I didn't want
Did
to
you
be
ever-
slurring my words or anything, so
Yeah,
I'll
no,
have
every
cocktail after my
time. Okay, Greg, here's the deal. Every time
Well, I know,
Matt
Sean,
makes
maybe-
one of those jokes, one of those
Yeah.
dad jokes
have to
or
drink.
puns, we have to drink.
Okay,
That's what
I'll
we're
even
doing
drink
for
my
myself.
water.
That's
You
fair.
drink your
Okay.
water. Here we go.
All right,
You
here we
should
go.
all be penalized for my bad jokes.
I hope I make it through the end of the episode.
But
Okay,
but
what
this
was
guy
the
loves-
question? I forgot the question.
Was there a
So,
question?
I was curious if that's vodka in your glass. No, I'm curious. Is this the first novel you ever tried to write? Or you over the years you've tried to write novels like
I
big
wrote
things.
2 more, but I never did anything with them. I didn't. They probably would be. I don't know. They weren't any good. I wrote 2 books, yeah, but I didn't do anything with them. But when I was a young girl, yeah, I'd love to write. I did more poetry. I did poems and things, and I always, I don't know. I sort of felt awkward growing up, and the way I just dealt with it is I just, took pen to paper and I wrote a lot. And yeah, I always liked. I always wrote out my feelings, and I found it to be very therapeutic. And then as I got older, I kind of got away from it. And then I just recently got back to it a few years ago. And while this book has taken really about 8 years, it took a long time to write.
Wow.
I think, I was in the throes of taking care of 2 sets of twins. So,
That'll do.
I was in the back of my mind. I was like, I think it would make a great story,
yeah.
the different people.
Have you
that
done the
came on.
research, Wendy? How rare is it to have 2 sets of twins? I've never heard of that in my life. Is that super, super
Do
rare?
you think she did
Um,
research before she had the children?
No. I'm saying just out of curiosity, you said, "Oh, how rare is this?" Now that I have 2 sets
But
of
you
twins.
said research, Greg. So
yeah,
I'm
research.
But it
research
doesn't-
into her having twins?
She can do
Well,
research
well,
anytime.
I think this
Oh,
is
when
more of
did
a-
she do research? Okay, I couldn't understand.
I'm saying this is more of an X-Files thing. Does the 2 sets of twins have something to do with the UFO?
Or the 2 books that she never actually published.
Yes, there is a correlation there, isn't there?
I mean, there's only one UFO though.
But I
Greg.
didn't see the UFO twice. Or
Although it's the UFO and
sighting
the
wasn't
cat, so
twice.
together there's like 2.
Yeah.
Did you know the
Um,
cat?
Did I? No. This was
No?
when my mom was, she had just met my dad, and yeah, no, I never met the cat. Unfortunately,
Probably for the best.
So you weren't raised with the cat then?
no, I was not.
No, the cat had no effect on any of the supernatural thing. The cat
Apparently.
is not a factor. No.
All right, so the
Well,
paranormal stuff that happened at the resort, as opposed to your mother having somebody in a tree dropping logs on people. What else did?
Okay.
What else happened there?
Well, my mom also she is sort of like a gypsy. So,
Is she in earshot? Can you get her on the show right now?
no,
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
seen her in a while.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. If it's
yeah.
a bad story.
So another thing that happens is, I don't know, just odd thing. It was in the wintertime. We were sledding. My sister and I, it was just my sister and I, she's about 5 years younger than me. And we had this hill and I was about to push her down this hill, and way down at the bottom, there was this tree and it was way, way off to the side. Right. So as I was about to push her, my mom peeks her head out and says, "Hey, don't push your sister, because if you push your sister down the hill, she's going to, she's going to hit that tree way over there and she's going to get a nosebleed." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? It's like way over in the, you had to." So I'm like, "Whatever, Mom." So I pushed my sister down the hill. So she's going down, the sled's going down, and just like, it just makes a hard left and goes way to the tree. And just, she gets one of the little branches up her nose. And guess what? She gets a nosebleed. It's so strange.
It's your
It was
basic-
so
your
weird
mother
because
just
I
predicts
remember
injury on people.
it was just weird because, how does a sled, I mean, it can divert and stuff, but it was like straight. And then all of a sudden it just went hard left right for the tree. So strange.
That's amazing.
Your mom missed her calling. She should have been hired by like a college or NFL football team, and she could just been out there and said, "Don't run that play. He's gonna break his leg." Like, oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, shoot.
Well, speaking of making a hard left, I think it's now time to bring up our client for today. And our client, as mentioned earlier, is one's name is one's destiny. I think this applies because Greg has this idea that the name you're given somehow affects the rest of your life, and like you're supposed to, I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. Greg, could you explain this so that we could address this client appropriately?
And how does that go with married names? I mean, if you marry into the name.
We'll see.
I
think it doesn't go with anything because Greg is telling us the theory, and it's got no validity whatsoever. But we're going to let him say it so we can then ridicule him.
But Wendy, I like the cross-examination point. I think that was an excellent point to bring on.
Good lawyer.
You are exactly. We brought her from Wisconsin. She's got credentials.
I can pull it out every once in a while.
Well, we're not going to even touch that joke with a 10-foot pole. All right, Greg, go ahead.
I kind of fell into that.
So now that I've been cross-examined,
well, you have to give your initial statement, though.
I am, but I'm just saying I appreciate the cross-examination because this is probably the most ridiculous client we've ever had. And as a disclaimer, usually these guys know me. These guys know me better than you, right? Obviously, and they know I'm very logical, very very logical man,
very logical brain.
So this is probably. See, Brendan's nodding his head. He agrees.
Oh, so yeah. I'm so on board with this.
I just want to see where this goes.
I just went with my gut. And sometimes you just have theories that you can't really prove.
You're having gastroparesis right now.
I don't even know what that is, but interesting name.
You gotta drink.
That's a new one.
Was it a bad joke? Because I was okay.
No. You see, you're going from your gut and gastroparesis. Yeah, you should drink for that one.
Yeah, you should drink
basically
for that.
a paralytic.
Oh, can we all drink?
Yes, please
drink away.
My
I think that was actually a good joke. Now that I know what it is. Good work,
all right, so you're going from your gut regarding your name being your destiny. So
yes.
Your name is your destiny, and this is where I came up with it. So I never liked my name, and I never liked myself.
But Greg, do you know what your name means?
It doesn't matter.
Of course.
Is it short for Gregory?
Yes.
Okay.
But the name Greg means vigilant, watchful. It's of Greek origin.
Drunkard.
Buffoon.
Are we including middle names in this?
Who knows?
Theory? Is middle names included or just the first?
Yeah, just the first, because that's how people know you. And so I realized as I got older, I was like, yeah, Greg is not a cool guy's name. I guess there was Gregory Peck. That's the one instance of like, oh, he's a good-looking, cool guy.
Greg Brady wasn't cool.
He was a doofus. I mean, he was cool in the show. In the fiction of the show, he was the stud. But how many girls would like Greg Brady if they actually knew him? He was kind of lame. But as I grew older, I realized
I think Wendy would have dated Greg if they had been, right time, right place. Yeah, Greg Brady. No. Yeah. Maybe no.
Yeah.
Greg Brady or Barry Williams?
Potential there. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not a real Greg, so you can't really use him as an example. He's really a Barry.
Oh, is it Barry? Oh, okay.
He's
Barry. Yeah, Barry.
There's another name that you can't expect a lot from. But so as I grew older, I realized that, like, every Greg I've ever met, which was rare because that name.
That Barack Obama goes by Barry as a nickname, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about Greg.
Right, but his name was Barry Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, as I grew older,
do we have to drink to that? Because
it wasn't a joke, but you can drink anyway.
That wasn't even a joke. That was just like a brains.
It's just a quibble thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to get this out.
Okay,
please do.
So Greg, every Greg I met was kind of like not that cool either, and I was like, yeah, there's something about being a Greg. No cool guys are named Greg. And then I thought about all these other names where, like, here's an example. Every woman I've ever met named like Bree or Brianna, always gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous. I don't know why. That's why this doesn't make sense. I'm sure.
What about the cheese?
I love it's very gorgeous.
But if you look at it, it just looks like a white lump.
Yeah, but women named Bree or Brianna, I've never met one that wasn't less than stunning. Not even just like, she's not ugly. But I'm sure you guys might know a Brianna who's homely or unattractive. It's anecdotal, but I've noticed certain names fit people. You meet them and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's a Jack.
So you're not saying this applies to every name, just certain names.
A lot of names.
Certain.
There's a bell curve of probability relative to these names where
I think it's more of an aperture of probability, and it's very, very tiny.
Okay, so here's an example. Okay. And I'm not shining you on. As soon as I saw your face, Wendy, you have a very kind face. And you're really nice. Oh. Every Wendy I've ever met has been a nice person. I've never met like a bitchy Wendy or that girl Wendy. She's a jerk. We don't like Wendy. Everyone, Brendan, every Brendan I know is kind of like Brendan, kind of like a cool macho type guy.
But for the longest time you thought his name was Brandon and you never pronounced it right.
Same thing. It doesn't matter. Brandons and Brendans are all the same.
Brendans and Brandons, they are sort of interchangeable.
What about Brennans?
No, that's different.
Oh,
they're pretentious. They're
I would agree with that.
Guy named Brennan.
Brennans are pretentious.
Yeah.
I only know Brennans that way because they are Brennans, and I know I have he's not really a close friend of mine. He's actually the son of one of my friends, and his name is Brennan, and he couldn't be more pretentious.
Yeah.
I know one Brennan. I think he's a really funny guy, and interestingly enough, he works for UPS too.
Oh, well.
Anyway,
this Brennan that I know, his dad is a millionaire, and he drives a BMW, and he's like 25. So he's got that as a handicap with his name on top of it.
Yeah, this guy was works for UPS, and I think he's in management though. But he also remember him from karaoke, and he would do Jewish rap songs.
Pretentious.
Is it?
Yes.
Matisyahu, that's the name of the guy I was thinking of. So Matisyahu.
Oh, that guy. So I'm curious about asking our guests, because these guys are used to my lunacy. Do you see anything of this? Have you ever felt like, oh yeah, certain people, that name always seems to fit?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like it matters how the name is spelt too.
Ooh, that's important.
Like, for some reason, it really,
Now you said spelt instead of spelled.
Did I really?
So when spelt in my knowledge is a grain of some kind that you make bread with.
Oh, Matt, this is the worst quibbling you've ever done.
I heard it. I heard spelt. She's an author. I want to make sure, because she's very careful with her words. She has to choose the right ones.
No, I have to be.
Details are importance. Damn you all.
I gotta have a shot.
Okay, so what bothers me, and I don't know why, when guys named Jeff spell their name Geoff or some random crazy, that drives me nuts, and that's very pretentious.
But often that is how their names are spelled, though.
Yeah, they're Joffrey. It's short for Joffrey.
Well, no, it's pronounced Jeffrey, but it's still spelled like Joffrey.
Yeah.
I got one better. I know several Stevens that insist on being called Steven, and if you call them Steve, it's like you called them, a 4-letter word. They're like, it's Steven. And I know 2 separate Stevens, and they both have the same chip on their shoulder about their name.
Really?
I go, hey, Steve. And he's like, it's Steven. And I'm like, huh. And then like years later, I met another guy named Steven, and I'm like, I'm gonna just see it. I'm like, yo, Steve, and he's like, it's Steven. And I'm like, oh.
I'll be like,
okay.
oh, so right away.
All names have that though. All names, like if anyone who says, call me Gregory, my name's not Greg. That's right there is a warning sign that this person's got some issue.
Yeah.
I've just never met anyone else who's like insisted they be called Matthew and not Matt, or Gregory and not Greg.
I know a guy
Really?
named William who refused anybody to call him the name Bill. He's like, I'm not a Bill. My name is
You
William.
should call him Billy.
Yeah, he didn't go for that
Billy?
either. See, I was
Billy,
the
I would've
opposite.
called
I
him
never
Billy.
wanted to be called Matthew. And I was like, just call me Matt. I thought being called Matthew, the full name, was kind of pretentious. But I grew to not care later on in life. But
the Steven thing, it seems like if they're that weird about it, it comes across to me as very pretentious and sort of high maintenance. I don't know.
Yeah. So my question is on your theory. I mean, I'm not discounting it, Gregory. But could it be that the name that the parents give the child is the actual primary cause of the child's later behavior? In other words, if you're given the name Brittany, there's a certain societal expectation of Brittany, whereas if your name is Sarah or Mary, you're probably not going to be a Brittany type. So is it the name that is actually, is it chicken and egg thing? Is it the name that makes the person, or the person that makes the name?
or is it a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah, that's definitely the part of it, I think. But there's still just the wild card where like Greg is just a neutral name, but every Greg I've ever met is kind of like just this, I don't know, nice guy. They're always nice guys who don't have much charisma, and they're kind of, oh yeah, that guy Greg, he's a nice guy.
Mostly
okay.
This is beginning to feel like a Greg therapy session. I know several Gregs that are very accomplished. I know a guy that I went to school with, Greg, who's the CEO of a company. It's a construction company of all things.
Of all things.
I mean, but he's just not what Greg is saying Greg is. He's not, this guy. I mean, he is a manly man.
He's an alpha male.
And no one's ever heard of Greg Kinnear, of course.
Well, I wouldn't say Greg Kinnear is an alpha male type, but Greg Kinnear is definitely not.
He
seems nice.
You know, he doesn't seem to me like a jerk. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what Greg is saying is we're transposing Greg's personal issues onto the name Greg, and that he's saying that Greg is a nice guy, but Greg is kind of a doofus. Am I wrong, Greg?
Yeah. I'm not like, I'm definitely not an alpha male. Let's just say that I'm a zeta male. At the lowest letter.
Are you saying all Gregs fall into that category? At least the majority of them, or a plurality of.
So this is basically just the people that you've met that you're making these generalities about.
Yes, that's what I'm going by. That's why.
Maybe it's more a reflection of your. Maybe it's more a reflection of your friends.
Could be
than the names.
You know,
but other names. Let's forget about Greg. So it's not about me. But I mean, so many names always.
I want to delve into the etymology of the names of each of us. So I'm going to start with Brendan. So just to know, Brendan is an Irish masculine given name in the English language, is derived from the Gaelic name of Brendan, and essentially the word means prince or king is what Brendan means. So king of his own household, of his own business, fulfills that. Greg, we know, means vigilant, watchful. It's of Greek origin. And it's a name that's used by parents that are considering baby names for boys. So there you go, Greg. You know that. Wendy means a friend or blessed ring. It's of English origin.
See, friend. They're always very friendly, Wendy's. The Wendy types.
And J.M. Barrie used it from a small girl who referred to him as her friendy Wendy. Or friend.
Friendy Wendy. I just remember the Beach Boys song.
Name.
Really?
What was that, Wendy?
I was almost called another name too. I can mention it and tell me what you think of this.
Please do. I'm curious.
Samantha. I came very, very close to being called Samantha, but
that wouldn't have worked. Samantha's aren't that nice.
Yeah, but my dad.
Oh, you're such a nut.
I'm getting brainworms.
I know.
My dad didn't like the nickname of Sam because he thought it would sound too much like a boy. So
yeah, a girl named Samantha who goes by Sam, I like them.
I do too.
I mean, a girl named Samantha is like, oh yeah, I'm Sam.
I would have been
I like them.
Samantha.
I like women who just go by the name Wayne. All right, so finally, Matthew is derives from the Hebrew name Matityahu, which means gift of Yahweh or gift of God. So obviously that's not true.
That sums it up.
You're a gift of
Is,
God.
is that what you consider me, Greg? Am I?
Yeah,
a
when I
gift of
met
God
you, I
to
was like, am I blessed right now? What did I do right in this world to meet Matt?
He makes everything
Thank you.
right that's wrong in the world.
Yes, that's what I'm known for. I'm known for my glowing, overweening presence, where flowers bloom as I walk by.
Yes, the writer of wrongs.
I don't know.
Yes.
We,
We're
when we were
overwhelmed by
roommates
your
in the
presence,
90s. I don't remember
Overwhelming.
that. I don't remember. I don't remember flowers in the presence of you as a roommate. I kind of remember the opposite, but I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering.
you guys
Like,
were
Unflushable
flowers
turds.
died as I walked by. Is what he's saying. all matter of flora and fauna was consumed by death as I wandered by.
That's
And
right.
here I thought everything was fine.
You guys know the interesting thing what's happened with Brittany, though, is I don't know if you ever read the book
what?
Freakonomics.
Yes, what happened with Brittany, Greg?
Something happened, Matt, and if you just listen and let me talk, you'll hear. So
Yes.
there's this great book called Freakonomics where these economists, using their skills as economists, look at just kind of silly societal things and actually do the research and get the stats. And they found out that when we were growing up, Brittany was, you'd hear Brittany, you'd hear like, oh, country club girl, really rich, probably too rich for us to ever meet. But then those kind of names always trickle down economically because people name their kids like, ooh, we want to trade up.
Move up in the world. Yeah. Yeah.
But it seems that over the years, it was lots of like white trash people now. So when I meet a Brittany now who's young, I'm sorry. She usually is like the girl who's kind of white trash. I know that's a bad term now. But when I was a kid, if you met a Brittany, she was like in a Rolls Royce, or she was very well off.
I always thought of a spaniel when you said Brittany.
Really?
Back in the
Did
day.
you know a spaniel?
The
named
type
Brittany?
of spaniel. There's Springer Spaniels and there's Brittany Spaniels.
Yeah, even though we were talking about names. you thought
Cocker
about
Spaniels.
Yeah.
Coker Spaniels. Sorry, I mispronounced. All right, yeah, you guys have to drink
Like,
for that
like
one.
the soda Coke. Yeah.
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 I think I
didn't
have
realize
another
joke.
bad joke I've been holding on to. First of all,
Please not.
what does the M in Wendy M Coke stand for?
What do you think it stands for?
I don't know.
Here comes a bad joke.
No, the joke will be after we get through this part.
Marie.
Marie,
Marie.
okay.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a nice
well,
middle
she's
name.
related to you, Greg. Almost,
different.
kind of, sort of. So no, so the bad joke is, just taking her name as a sentence, which is Wendy M. Coke. She is Coke.
Oh,
Drink again.
Okay, I just drank, but I got
That's profound.
Drink, Wendy.
He and Greg.
Dude, I
Wendy-
only
Wendy M. Coke.
have beer. I have to do shots of like tequila.
He's
and
gotten
that kind of
stronger to
shit.
get through this.
Yeah.
I have to do
God.
Jankum. I have to do Jankum for these jokes.
Jankum.
No, we're not
don't
talking about
don't
Jankum.
explain what Jankum is to Wendy.
not.
She doesn't need
I
to
don't.
know the nastiness.
None of our
that is
listeners.
Oh, I wanna
Jankum.
know
Google
the nastiness.
Jankum. No, don't.
The cat's
no.
out of the bag now. You can tell me a little bit. Okay. Okay.
All
How
right,
about
so
off the
so
record?
Jankum
Real
is
quick.
some way that people who are really poor, and it started in some African countries, where they take, I guess, rubber
Fecal
or
matter.
balloons over jars of fecal matter and collect the gases that come off of it during the fermentation process, and they huff it after a certain period of time to get high.
Oh, wow.
And it's
Yeah.
something that people apparently have grown like an addiction to. I guess it's just
Okay.
like huffing methane.
Wow.
Now I'm trying to make this a little more clinical so it's not so nasty. But basically, we had a guest on a few weeks ago who educated us about what Jankum is, and I
Okay.
went down that rabbit hole a little bit. And Greg, I guess, decided to bring it back up again. But at least it's better that than some other thing.
I
Greg
learned
could have
something
brought
new.
up.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Greg is probably going to do a whole comic book now about Jankum.
So I'm still curious if Wendy
It's
also agrees.
Jankum, man. He's a
Are there any other names, Wendy, that you think have like, oh yeah, that kind of person's always listening?
I think the name Kate is always very distinguished. Just plain Kate, I think that's a great name.
With a K or a C?
K with a K.
Hey.
Okay. If they have
Yeah,
a
like a
C,
woman
are they
named-
more
It's gotta be
slutty?
with
A woman-
K.
A
Yeah.
woman named Kate's gonna be cool. She's going to be a cool woman.
Yeah.
Is it going to be cool
level-headed.
with a K?
Yep.
Or the C,
No.
Greg?
With a C, because there's no such word as K except for the cigarettes.
See? So there is a word then, liar.
That's not a real word. It's a made up word.
I don't.
I have another name that I think is very distinctual. Ruth, I think, commands attention.
But they're old. They're always old.
They are.
Yeah, that's an.
My
old-
mother-in-law's
days.
name was Ruth, and she was so cool.
My grandmother's named
Yeah.
Ruth.
That's another
Yeah,
thing I
that's-
thought about this is a lot of names die out. So growing up, when I'd hear a name like, if somebody said, Greg, I got a blind date for you with a woman named Matilda, I wouldn't get my hopes up. But I'm sure in the 20s, there were a lot of hot Matildas, but I just grew up knowing Berthas and Matildas as old ladies because that
Martha.
name died
But
out.
that stuff is kind of coming back, like it's getting popular, like Esther. I don't know, it was a little bit popular. They're going to the old-fashioned names, like Mary seems to be trending a little bit again.
But Mary never went away. I always knew Mary's. That's just like John. You know, like it's an old name, but it didn't seem to go away. But
Right. I
don't know
Esther,
that-
I picture an old woman. I gotta say, that's what I picture. Some old lady named Esther.
Esther. Well, there's a couple girls around here named Esther. I think it's kind of
Yeah.
cool. It's different. It's different.
Yeah, what you don't hear much about are all the Jehoshaphat's out there. And
Yeah.
that's sad. Jehoshaphat, Methuselah, we haven't heard a lot of those in recent times. Occasionally you'll hear an Ezekiel. I don't know.
Yeah, I named my oldest daughter Bridget, which is kind of a more older fashioned name.
What was it?
But I thought it was cool.
I don't know. I
Bridget.
mean, there's Bridget
Bridget.
Fonda.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was pretty popular for a while. She's
it
not-
was.
Yeah,
Bridget.
how long ago?
well, like,
Yeah.
she's
She's
our
in her
age now.
40s.
She's our age. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of young Bridgets walking around. Is my point.
Probably in Switzerland or parts of Germany.
Yeah, maybe.
Elaine was
Ireland.
popular back when I was in school.
Elaine.
Elaine.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You don't really hear Elaine anymore either.
No, you
That's true.
don't.
But
I,
I
want more.
I remember when I was in high school, was girl names. It was Jennifer and Melissa.
Yes.
I must have known
Yes.
a busload of Jennifers
And Jessica.
and a
Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah.
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 Totally true. I know
And
so
then they were
many.
all murdered. What happened to them all?
No, they're still around. Now they're
Okay.
Jen, Jenny, Jennifer. I know a Jen, a Jenny, a Jennifer, another Jennifer. I probably know. I literally right now in my life there are probably 6 Jen, Jenny, Jennifers.
And
I
by
think I
the
know
way,
3.
Melissa's, and by the way, all Melissas are really cute girls. They're
At the
always
very
cute,
least, there's a song about them by the Allman
cute,
Brothers.
nice girls. They're
Jessica's
not like Brianna. They're not like hot as Brianna. Brianna's are hot. They're like, like, oh my God.
Don't
What-
know what you're
Melissa's
talking
are always
about.
really cute, nice.
Okay.
How does
It's
Brianna
like
have
girl.
to be spelled? How does Brie have to be spelled to be hot, Greg?
There's many variations, but as
So
long as
every
it's-
variation, the woman is hot or girl is hot.
though, do you want to hear something weird? I met one woman who's
Yes.
parents.
Tell us
Who's
something
did-
weird. If you're going to ask a question, wait for a response.
I thought I was just being whatever, but
That's a drink right there.
It's not a
Okay.
joke.
Yeah, time to drink.
Fine.
Okay, I'm
Not
gonna say
fair,
Fine,
I
all
just
of
know
you.
water.
I did know a woman named, her parents did one of those weird hybrid things, trying to be fancy. Her name was
Right.
Kim Brianna. That was her
Oh.
full name. It wasn't a, and Kim
Pretentious.
Brianna,
Pretentious.
the Kim ruined it. And Kim wasn't that pretty. She wasn't
Did you
ugly.
tell her? Did you tell her that she ruined
I
it?
did. I told her my whole theory the first day I met her. No, I'm
You're such
kidding.
a
I'm kidding.
dick.
I did not do that. No, but it was weird because every Brianna and Brie I've ever met, and then the Kim, adding the Kim, maybe Kim. Usually those women aren't that attractive, so it brought down the Brianna to a.
What do you guys think when you hear the name Amber?
Hooker or stripper.
No, babysitter.
That you have sex
Which
with
becomes
and
later
during
a
your
hooker
marriage.
or a stripper. Yes.
But I do live in Florida, so maybe she grows up to be a stripper.
Or
When I hear-
flies.
When I hear Brianna or Brie, 100% right next to like Tiffany for like stripper name.
Tiffany.
So you know what's really weird, guys, is I work with all these young kids because I work at
That
burger
is
flipping
weird,
joint.
Greg. It's incredibly
Okay, I'm
weird.
sorry. Just stop derailing it just because I say that's weird. But it is weird. I find this very weird that I work with all these young kids, like 19 to 24.
It's still
And
weird. You're right.
So many women, these young women have names that so are stripper names. Like I work with girls named Cheyenne, Serenity. That's totally like put your hands together for Serenity. I never knew a Serenity. And these girls are not stripper types. They're not that type. But every girl I work with, all these girls have names like that's a stripper name, like a stereotypical stripper
Well,
name.
you have to also temper that with the concept that we're in the Portland, Oregon area where many names are not usual names. This is like where hippies and activists go to die. This is like the elephant's graveyard here in Portland. It's like, so that mentality moved here and then raised children with bizarre names,
But
my
these
own
people-
kids included.
These
So
people's parents weren't hippies. I know they've talked about their parents. They definitely didn't grow up hippy dippy.
yeah, but
just
they're a
like-
little bit dippy if they're naming their kid something like this, Serenity.
I think that's just popular now. That everyone wants to have a
Serenity.
unique name.
Or Heaven.
Heaven.
Shoelace,
I know
Nevaeh.
a 24-year-old girl named Serenity.
armpit hair.
Yeah.
No, not armpit hair. That's a Portland thing, I think.
Boxcar.
But boxcar. What
I'll drink to
the
that.
fuck are you
I'll drink to
talking
anything.
about?
That's Greg's joke.
Yeah, I think you should drink.
What would be
But
like
I
the
think,
worst?
I read.
What are the worst names that you've heard that somebody named a kid?
Cecil.
Oh, gosh.
Seesaw?
Cecil.
I know.
I don't mind Cecil so much.
I knew a girl who named her boy Simeon.
Like a monkey?
What? Simeon?
Yes,
What?
I'm not kidding. Yeah.
That kid's gonna grow up to be really dumb.
Or he's going to go by his middle name and he's just going to have the letter
everybody- yeah,
S
that's-
in the
I'm
beginning.
not kidding you.
Froze
She
her, I
named him
froze.
Simeon. I'm like, what? Yeah, she
Spelt
did.
just the
Like I
same
have
way.
an uncle named
Yes,
Carol, but he goes by
S-I-M-E-O.
James.
What's that?
I said I have an uncle named Carol, but he goes by James.
But that was a common old-timey name for Matt and Carol O'Connor, you know.
Right,
was-
I
it
get
was a-
it, but still the point I'm making is just
Simeon.
if he's named
Oh,
Simeon,
that's
he's
terrible.
probably going to go by the letter S.
That's not good. Yeah, not good.
Uh,
Not a good deal there.
That's cruel. It's hard
It
enough to grow
is.
up as a kid with all your insecurities
I
when you're a
think she was
teenager.
trying to be cool, but it just, I don't know.
I think if they
I-
call them by a number, and I've heard somebody call a kid by a number before.
Oh, like 7 or something?
Right,
Yeah.
that I think would be the worst name you can name a kid as a number.
7?
I don't know. I think that could be kind of badass. Like, what's your
Yeah.
name? 8. What the fuck does that even mean?
Well, it
That's
means I
kinda
had
cool.
some food earlier.
Yeah, or 7.
Oh,
What if her name
I
was
know-
69 though?
Oh, come on. God,
That would
Greg.
be torturous.
I knew
Yeah,
a little
How
girl.
about that?
I knew a little African American girl. Her name was Tata.
On a birth certificate. It's not a nickname.
Tata, not a nickname. Her name was Tata.
That's
I
She
think
was
it
a-
was not done as a joke, but it was probably they thought it was okay,
I don't
not
know.
realizing what people use
She
as
she was a cheerleader with my daughter, and she was like, no, at the time she's probably 8 or 9 years old, and her name was Tata. There was another girl on the team who was named Tay Tay, and there was a third girl.
Really?
Yes, there was a third girl, Tay Tay, and this other girl's names were
And then Woo Woo.
names. There was
a Moo.
Tata, Tay Tay, no, Tata, Tay Tay, and Yaya.
Now I've heard Yaya before, but usually it's
Yeah,
for
it's
a
a nickname.
grandmother.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
No.
a nickname.
Like that's my Yaya.
that's a nickname for grandmother.
Tay Tay is
Yeah.
whenever you have T pronounced correctly.
I'm trying to think of another bad name for a girl. Cherry. Yeah, Cherry.
Sherry's
I
Sherry's
know.
pretty
Porn
common.
star.
Oh, you mean
That's
Cherry? Cherry
like-
is like a stripper name.
Cherry.
That's a strip club and goes right up to porn.
Right next to Candy.
Yeah, that's just like
I-
you're a porn
I
star.
actually know and work with the Cherry right now.
Oh, really? Is
Was she in
nice?
porn?
Yeah,
No, it's
and-
actually the fruit.
yes, she's nice, and she's a like Google Analytics expert. She's very professional in what she does. But her name is Cherry because I remember she introduced herself and she's like, "Hi, I'm Cherry. I'm going to be working with you." And I'm like, "Cherry." She's like, "Yeah, don't go there." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine."
I'm probably so sick of it.
What was her occupation when she was in 19 though? Did you ever ask her?
Where are
bet
you
it was
going with this,
porn.
Greg?
High school?
I bet it was
She
porn.
was going to college.
Or
Oh,
she was in the
she's not
porn
in porn.
industry.
Oh gosh.
Greg, you're just trying to like
let me-
force your theory onto this poor person.
Come on, people named Cherry.
Greg, let me
That
tell
was a
you,
porn name.
I mean, I mean, she's not. Let's just not an attractive person. So if she was doing porn, nah,
It's like
happen.
it would be a specialized kind of porn.
Oh boy.
Okay, Wendy, I'm curious. Wendy,
Yes.
are there any guy names that, like, if you had a blind date, he says, "Oh, this is the guy's name," you'd be more excited about than another name, like a name
Percival.
that's like usually attractive guys.
That
Like,
I find attractive. I would say like
Montgomery.
Greg,
Keith.
Greg.
Yeah.
Keith.
Keith.
Keith. Yeah.
That's right.
Keith.
She's from Wisconsin. You got to give her a
Yeah.
pass for that one. That's
Lars.
probably like an exotic name in Wisconsin. Keith.
Yeah.
We get a lot of Keiths in these parts up here in Tomahawk.
Oh gosh.
What's your husband's name,
Keith.
Wendy?
Oh, here we go.
His
The
name's
UPS
actually
guy.
Gray. His
Here we
name is
go.
Gray, and that's where the resort comes from.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
his,
No, I'm making that up, Greg.
his
Oh, I have to
formal
drink now.
name. His formal name is Sherwood, but he's known as Woody. Stop.
Sherwood.
So
That's actually a
either way,
town in the suburbs of Portland. Sherwood.
Sherwood is definitely not like I got a date with Sherwood. How exciting. He's going
But
to be
she said
awesome.
his nickname is Woody.
Well,
Did he
I
did
know.
he introduce
His
himself to
nickname
you
is
first
Woody, and
as
it's very-
Sherwood or as Woody when you first met him?
Well, he didn't say, "Hey, my name is Sherwood." He said, "I'm Woody."
Okay. And
Good for
then
him.
he told you the spelling of his last name and you put those two together and you went, "Excuse
Well,
me?"
that was a few dates later, but yeah.
Okay.
I gotta
Well, it
say,
could have
I
been
like
worse.
Woody.
The last name could have been Chuck, and then it could have just really thrown things off.
I think Woody is like a.
It's
that- to me,
pronounced Coke.
Yes.
I just want to clarify for anyone seeing the screen, it's pronounced
Woody
Coke,
Coke.
not what you think it is. His name is
Um,
Mr. Woody Coke.
I'm gonna
And
get
his middle name is Turgid.
Stop.
Oh,
Go back to drinking,
I'm
Greg.
gonna be in trouble.
I haven't
I'm
stopped.
gonna have a
So-
drink
Yeah.
of my
So Wendy,
water.
though,
That
I
joke
do
took a
say-
lot to make that erect, Greg.
Okay. So as a guy who has been an expert in the field of understanding people by their names, I'm the only one. I got to say Woody's a good name. A guy
It
named
is a good
Woody
name.
is going to be down to earth. It's going to be just like everyone's going to like him. He's going to be the guy at the
Yes.
bar everyone likes. It's like, Woody's here. Oh,
Yeah.
He's going
yay,
to travel the
Woody's here.
country
Yeah,
with a guitar
yeah,
and make
like-
songs about our country.
That too.
Like Woody Allen. Woody
He's a
Allen
good-
is.
Yes, Woody
Words.
Allen, exactly.
Not like Woody Allen, no.
That's not his real name, though. His name wasn't, he wasn't born Woody Allen. You picked that name. I think.
Sure, Woody Allen.
Sure, Woody.
What was
Woody,
his
if he
name?
could, he.
I am gonna be in so
Woody
much
got-
trouble, guys. I am gonna be in so
Woody
much
Guthrie was a good Woody. Woody Harrelson,
Woody from
another
Cheers?
good
He
Woody.
was a good Woody.
Woody Harrelson, but is a little crazy, but
Yeah, Woody Allen is not Woody Allen's
But-
real name. So,
I knew that.
really?
What is Woody
Yeah.
Allen's real name?
Alan
Matthew?
Stewart Königsberg.
Really?
Yes.
Allen.
Yeah, Woody
Alan's
That's
Allen.
another bad name.
Allen's. Yeah, there you go.
I've never known a good Allen.
Me neither. He's
No,
right.
it's not true. It's not true. I work with an Allen. I like him a lot. He's a guy. It's a Texas
You like
guy.
Alan Dershowitz or something?
I
But
think
if
it's
an
Allen as in.
I guess it depends
Allen as
on
in
which Allen. Is it the two
A-L-L-E-N.
L's and the E, or is it the ALA? That's which Allen are we talking about?
The AL is bad.
Yes. I would have
okay.
to agree with you. For some reason, ALA seems like we're going down serial killer kind of. I don't know. I don't
For all of
know
you guys
why.
named Allen out there, or anybody who knows an Allen spelled ALAN, remember, serial killer.
You're next.
Anyway, hey, we've
Okay,
hit the particular mark. I hope that we've given Wendy plenty of time to talk about her book. It was called The Gray Resort. What's do you think is gonna be the name of the next book? Or are you not willing to say? Because you said
Well-
it's a gray something, but you weren't willing to give the.
Yeah, I don't want to divulge the title just yet, but
Okay.
there will be gray in the new title, and I'm very excited. It's I intend for it to come out later this year, like around fall time. Well, I'm crossing my fingers. Hopefully that will happen. But all the same characters that are in A Gray Resort will be in this one, as well as new characters. I'm really excited about it, and I hope to get it out in the fall. So it's called A Gray Resort. It's available everywhere: Amazon, Target.com, Walmart.com, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can get books, really. So
God, we never even got into your podcast and the name of that. So that's
yes. So
real quick.
Is it
Juicy
okay.
Pear.
Is it available?
Where does that come from?
Okay. So last summer, my co-host Sean and I were just, I'm like, we really should do this podcast. We're having all these COVID constrictions, and it's just like, we want to do something fun and relatable to people. And so we were coming up with names, and I came up with A Juicy Pear, and I was really hoping that she would like it as well, and she did. So it's called A Juicy Pear Podcast.
So the two of you are the pair. It's a pun on the two of you being juicy.
Like juicy topics, interesting.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Good topics.
Is it spelled like pear or pear? How is it spelled?
It's spelled like pear, Greg.
It's spelled like the fruit, P-E-A-R. So ajuicypearpodcast.com. We're on all the directories. We love talking with, free spirits, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, anybody who might have had an obstacle in life and overcame it. Anything interesting, really.
Podcasters?
What's that?
Do you ever talk to podcasters?
Yes.
She's doing it right now, Greg.
Hint?
All the time.
On her show?
Yes. We'll have to have you guys on our show. You would love Sean. She's great.
Oh, it's hard getting these guys to commit to extra things. Well, so
anyway,
it could perhaps happen if you really want to torture your co-host.
She'd be up for it. But yeah, ajuicypearpodcast.com. We're on all the directories: Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Google Play, Alexa. And you can just go on ajuicypearpodcast.com right from your phone. You can download an episode and check us out.
Great. Fantastic. So I want to thank Wendy Cook very much for coming on, the author of A Gray Resort. And she helped us with our client today as a fake guest attorney. Our client, of course, is One's Name is One's Destiny. This has been the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
You've left the offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It's over. It's over. It's time for you to go home. It's over. It's over. Go away now.